Hi, I'm Steve Spencer from SMB Capital, and today we're going to talk about a trading scenario that happens fairly frequently when there's a large catalyst, a strong catalyst, and a stock has a very large gap to the downside. And so as short-term traders, we will look at stocks with these catalysts that are down more than 20%. And many traders will have a tendency when something gaps down a lot to look for a bounce, look for the stock to move higher. And then there's other traders will have a very strong tendency when something has a large gap to look for the trend to continue. What I like to do, and I think ideally to be the best trader, to be the best short-term trader, is you want to be mentally flexible and kind of develop a set of rules and a set of scenarios when you look for downside follow-through or when you look for a bounce. And so in this case, the stock was ALNY. They had a drug where they halted development, very bad news. All the analysts downgraded it, gave new price targets. What I want to talk to you about is two things that I looked at in this scenario that kind of helped me stay informed or whether or not to really focus on a bounce or to focus for downside follow-through. Analyst price targets. So what happens is when there's a negative catalyst in a stock, the analysts will lower their price targets. And one of the things that I look at is when the stock gaps down, in this case, it's a $50 stock, it was gapping down to below $40 a share, is where are the price targets? And some of the price targets came down into the 50s and 60s, but one in particular from Stifel came down to 36. When a stock is gapping lower and there's a price target at 36, I'd love to see the stock much lower, down at 32 or down at 30, so I know even the lowest price target is well above where it's trading. In this case, that wasn't the case. There was actually a price target below where it was trading in the pre-market, and so that made me a little bit cautious. Not to say that I wouldn't look for it to bounce somewhat intraday, $2, $3, but not to look for a larger bounce. The other thing that I want to look at, and we highlighted it here in the morning meeting notes, was what is the first longer term support? The first longer term support is around $38. If it gaps below that level, or if right on the open it has a strong down move below that level, and it pops back up to that level and fails, perhaps we should focus on looking at the short side. And by the way, these written game plan notes are distributed before our morning meeting starts. Then I actually kind of walk traders in the SMB community as well as traders on our desk through the scenario. If you put in your email address now, we will send you free access for 7 days to the morning meeting, to the written game plan notes, to the SMB radar that identifies the top in play stocks, to the scanner where we can actually find the top stocks before the market opens. You'll get 7 days free access by just putting in your email now. We'll send you an email how to do that. After we go through the scenario of looking for whether or not we should trade this for a bounce, we'll talk about second day play, which is something we outline in our morning meeting as well. Here's the daily chart. It's gapping below the first longer term support, 38. If it gets below there, we're looking for it to kind of move down to the next longer term support was quite a few dollars lower. And this is going all the way back to 2013. Here's a zoomed in intraday look. Right on the open, the first move was down below 38, came back up. This is the 30-minute chart. Fails there at 38, and then trends down, closes weak, which sets us up for the second day play. Second day play, we have 36 support, 35.5, and then we know if it actually first move is down and it starts to hold below day one low, we can look for a trend play here. Here you can see the notes from today on the second day. Here's our support areas. If we take those out, we'll look for it to trend lower. As I printed this chart out, it was 34. I think as we went to film the video, it might have even been a little bit lower. I think the next longer term support is closer to $32, and when it comes in there, perhaps we'll look for a long play set up next week. One of the great things about being part of a community, we talk about it in the morning meeting, and then in the chat, I kind of grabbed a couple of people talking about it in the chat this morning. Somebody called it out low of the day. It's taking out that support we highlighted in the morning meeting. Another person saying, hey, it's approaching VWAP. Once something takes out longer term support and then comes back into VWAP, that's just from an intraday short-term trading perspective, that's one of the places we look to get short. Whenever you're trading as a team, whether or not it's on a trading desk or a group of traders like in the SMB community, it's nice to have people calling out things, but we can't follow everything, all the stocks that are in play. So hopefully you learned something today, and see you next time.